If you ask me whether Thaksin Shinawatra had anything to do with Sunday's night's clashes between police and the protesters in front of General Prem Tinsulanon's residence, my answer would be that if Thaksin did not have a direct role in that, at least the pro-Thaksin groups definitely were behind it. Because the core leaders of the so-called United Front Against Dictatorship, led by former politicians like Chakaprop Penkare, Veera Musikapong, or Weng To Jirakan, were obviously deciding to be part of a grand scheme to create enough trouble for the government and the coup leaders to provoke incidents. Thaksin may or may not have direct control over what happened Sunday's night, but it is obvious that people planning for his return to politics here are adopting a multi-pronged strategy. As far as I could see, Thaksin himself is also embarking on a plan to be able to have options. One of his options would be to go for election before the end of the year. The other option would be to go for broke, to challenge the coup leaders and the government to an open arena of confrontation. That may lead to incidents like the May 1992 crisis. The third option for Thaksin would be to combine the various tactics, hoping that he could somehow topple the powers that be to prepare for his comeback. Obviously, Thaksin does not know yet which scenario would be the best for him, but he would keep pushing because the main pressure is growing for him from the Asset Scrutiny Committee, which has up to now declared 9 decisions to freeze his assets, totaling at least 50,000 million baht so far. And that is the main trigger point for Thaksin to do a lot of things that would increase his bargaining power against the powers that be. If he goes for the political solution, he tries to support various factions that are still loyal to him, factions that are remnants of the Thai Rak Thai party. He still hopes perhaps that when election time comes before the end of the year, this old populist platform could still play a crucial role in winning votes. But his political base here has been eroding very fast because, if you notice, last week's big fundraising event by the Democrat Party was attracting a lot of political factions. Many of those were quite close to Thaksin. So Thaksin realizes that those factions are blowing in the direction of where the wind goes. He knows Thai politics very well, that with his position being threatened, with his assets being frozen, Thaksin's appeal to all these politicals would be waning very fast. But then he cannot abandon that option too easily, because that could prove to be the safest way for him to reclaim legitimacy. But at the same time, some of his supporters, the more militant ones, those who are leading the protest, are telling Thaksin that perhaps he cannot just go for the political solution. He would have to also employ street-side pressure against the coup leaders and against the government. That's why you see this multi-pronged approach. On the one hand, the political road map. On the other is the expression of anger, of revenge on the street, like what happened Sunday evening in front of General Prem's residence. Why target General Prem? Very simple. Thaksin wants the whole world to know that he knows that General Prem was behind the coup, and that he is the invisible hand that is controlling the coup leaders. Whether that is true or not doesn't matter to Thaksin. He has to point out that his downfall was in fact triggered by someone he used to call outside the constitutional jurisdiction. Now, the third option for him would be to combine both. That means that he would put political pressure on the political scene when the election time comes. At the same time, before that comes, he would have to show that he has the popular support of the middle class. That's what the Sanam Luang rallies are trying to prove for Thaksin. But it may not work out because Thaksin has not really thought through the whole process. Sunday night's incident shows that the middle class would be disillusioned with his tactics. Those who were undecided about whether they still like Thaksin or not would find this street violence quite a big problem, quite repulsive. Thaksin is not a man, in their view, to employ that kind of violent tactics against innocent people. This is where Thaksin may fail miserably, because if he uses both political and street-side demonstrations to pursue his goal, then one of the two will fail, or perhaps both will fail. The worst case scenario is that if the demonstration, the challenge posed by these pro-Thaksin elements such as Jakapop Penkhair and Virat Musakapong continue, or if they resist arrest and try to make a big issue out of whatever police decide to do with them. And police have said that they would stick very closely to the law. That means that people will be charged and that the core leaders will be taken to court. The core leaders say they would not resist arrest, but they would not surrender themselves. At the same time, they would not seek bail, meaning that they intend to make themselves martyrs. Their ultimate goal, it seems, is to provoke sufficient anger among a segment of the middle class to go out on the streets and to incite enough anger to bring about a similar situation of May 1992, when Jamlong Simuang was arrested and a popular uprising against the military took place. That may be their dream, that may be their goal, but it's not going to happen this time, because what happened on Sunday night was a clear sign that the leaders of the protest were making some very serious miscalculation.